Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S3 3070, A Friend in Need by Carol Jones. The characters are Sophie, Watson, Tess. Chapter 1, The Message. Sophie was sitting up in bed, reading a detective story when a paper plane whizzed into the room. Where did that come from? Sophie asked her doll, Watson. Sophie looked at the plane lying on the blanket. The paper was crisp and white. The plane was long and sleek, and the wings were bent at the tips. Where did it come from? Sophie unfolded the plane. There was a message under the wings. It was written in tiny capital letters. Sophie needed her magnifying glass to read it. This looks like a job for Detective Sophie, she told Watson. Using the magnifying glass, Sophie read, To whom it may concern. You're the only person in the whole wide world who can help me, from a friend in need. Somebody was in trouble. Somebody needed her help. Sophie had not played detective since she and her mother had moved. Sophie had no one to play detective with and no one to share secrets with. But now, somebody needed her. Maybe they had been kidnapped by aliens. That had happened on a TV show. She would get to the bottom of this. It was just the kind of mystery detective Sophie liked to solve. Maybe she should even make a new friend. Chapter 2, The Plan. The next morning, Sophie worked out a plan. First, she would find out where the paper plane had come from. She leaned out her window. All that she could see was the house next door. She could see a window, but she couldn't see inside because the curtains were shut tight. That couldn't be where the plane came from, thought Sophie. She was a step closer to solving the mystery. Sophie decided to keep watch from her window. She had her binoculars and her detective hat. She also had Watson. He wasn't much help, but at least he kept her feet warm. Sophie didn't know exactly what to look for. What does an alien look like? Sophie asked Watson. Watson yawned. Then Sophie heard the door slam. Sophie looked through the binoculars. She saw a man leaving the house next door. He didn't look like an alien, but Sophie knew it could be a disguise. The man climbed into his car and drove away. Sophie jumped up. It was time to act. Sophie climbed out her bedroom window. She crept toward the window next door. At any moment, a strong hand might grab her. Alien rays might freeze her in her tracks. Maybe if she held her breath, the aliens wouldn't hear her. Finally, Sophie reached the window. She tapped quietly on the glass. The curtain opened slightly and a warm breath fogged up the window. Then a pale hand reached between the curtain and wrote something on the glass. What could it be? Was it a secret code? Was it an alien alphabet? She pulled out her notepad. Then she heard the sound of a footstep. The pale hand stopped writing and disappeared. Sophie scribbled down the message and scrambled back home. Chapter 3, The Code. At home, she stared at her notepad. She still couldn't make sense of the writing. She put the pad on her dresser while she searched for her magnifying glass. Then she saw her notepad in the mirror. Sophie could read the words in the mirror. The mysterious person wasn't writing in code, of course, Sophie yelled. It's backward. Come be blah blah. What could it mean? She couldn't just knock on the door and ask the alien. She would have to wait and see what happened. She waited for the rest of the day. She cut her toenails. She had started on Watson's toenails when she heard a tap at her window. Sophie rushed to the window and opened it wide. Another paper plane was wedged in the branches of a bush. It must have crashed into the window and fallen in the bush. Sophie unfolded a paper plane. The message read, "To whom it may concern, the time is running out. Come back tonight after dinner. From your friend in need." Detective Sophie to the rescue. Chapter 4, The Rescue. The night after dinner, Sophie crept out of her house and over to the house next door. She was scared, but someone was in trouble. It was up to her to do something. Tap, tap. She knocked on the window. A pale face covered in red spots appeared between the curtains. Sophie imagined the worst. Oh no, she thought, the aliens are doing horrible experiments. "I'm so glad you have come," said the spotty girl. She helped Sophie scramble in through the window. "I hope I'm not too late," said Sophie, staring at the girl's spot. "No, you're just in time," said the girl. I've been stuck in here for a week with terrible food to eat." "What have they fed you?" asked Sophie. "Moldy bread, rotten fruit." "Oh, yogurt and gross stuff like that," said the girl. "Have they been doing terrible things to you?" asked Sophie. "They make me lie here all day. They keep the curtains closed so no one can see me. I'm not allowed to play, and look at my throat. It's covered in spots," said the girl. She opened the mouth. Sophie saw a cluster of horrible red lumps. "It looks bad in there," she said. "It's nasty," said the girl. She scratched her arm. "We have to get you out of here," said Sophie. "What we need is an escape plan." "I can't escape," said the girl. "I would have been in big trouble." This was worse than Sophie had thought. Then the door started to open. "Quick, hide under the bed," said the spotty girl, but Sophie was too slow. A man looked down at her. "These aliens are masters of disguise," thought Sophie. "You're the little girl from next door," the man said. Sophie tried to look brave. The spotty girl giggled. The man glared. Things were getting very weird. "Tess," he said, "I told you no visitors until you get better." The girl looked embarrassed. The man frowned at her. "But Dad, it's so boring by myself. I hate resting," said the girl. Sophie looked from one to the other. "Better, Dad? You mean you weren't kidnapped by aliens?" he said. "Aliens?" giggled the girl. "Aliens?" gasped the man, shaking his head. "Tess has the chickenpox, and she's contagious. Aren't you, Tess?" "Chickenpox?" asked Sophie. Tess nodded, but Sophie couldn't help noticing her lips twisting into a grin. Tess's dad was trying to look angry, but his mouth started twitching. Then he laughed aloud. "Aliens?" he said. "You two make a good pair." Two girls looked at each other, and soon they were laughing. Sophie and Tess had both found a friend, which was just as well, because we all need a friend when we are sick in bed with spots, especially Sophie. The end.